Welcome to Keno North Stadium in Tucson, Arizona, the home of FC Tucson, a semi-professional soccer team that plays in the Premier Development League, the fourth division of the U.S. soccer system. The club has provided high-level soccer in the Tucson community for 6 years now. But who are the people behind this club? And how did they get to where they are now?
In the summer of 2017, FC Tucson has just completed their 6th season providing semi-professional sports to the Tucson, Arizona community. By now, the Men in Black, as they are affectionately known to their fan base, are a well-established source of entertainment in the Southwest. But back in 2010, it looked like there might never be an FC Tucson at all.
A local city council member who wanted to bring, in his words, big-time soccer to Tucson, called together some people who were involved in youth soccer, and he called me, he called one of our partners, Rick Shantz, John Perlman, 4 or 5 other people in town, had a meeting in his office. We all talked about, how could this work? What is big time soccer? Where would they play? And after a couple meetings, we all kind of agreed that this will never work. There are no soccer fields in Tucson. And there's really, nowhere to go with this, unfortunately, because we all like the idea.
It looked like the idea of professional sports in Tucson was over as quickly as it started, and all those involved were ready to move on. But later that same year, Foster, Shantz, and Perlman were pulled back in when they got a call from the highest level of professional soccer in the United States. A couple of MLS teams were looking to play a preseason game out in Arizona. Ill-prepared to host such a big event, they decided to go all in and do it anyway.
I said, well, we have no fields, we have no money, we've never produced a game in our lives, so tell them yes, and then we'll do the best we can, because it was just too good of an opportunity to not follow up on.
With the help of the city of Tucson, they were able to rent a local baseball stadium for a weekend, and just like that, professional soccer was coming to Tucson.
We ended up selling out the stadium, over 10,000 tickets sold, and actually had to close the stadium with a line wrapping around the entire stadium, with people still trying to get in. So long and short of it is that we quickly realized there was a market for soccer in Tucson, even though there wasn't any infrastructure.
On the heels of the success of the MLS weekend, the group was looking to capitalize on Tucson's soccer market in a more consistent way. They did so by buying into the 4th tier of U.S. soccer's pyramid.
So we purchased in the fall of 2011 a franchise in the United Soccer League's Premier Development League. We played a summer in 2011 with just an independent team and grabbed games where we could, and we actually had pretty good turnout at our games. So we thought we could support a Premier Development League team too.
Well, the PDL League seemed like the right league. They were very organized. They had a good brand, and there was a good opportunity for us there in 2012. We decided to take that leap and purchase the franchise. PDL's been great, and that was the reason we made that decision. And 6 years in now, we certainly have no regrets about that.
Of course, buying a team in the PDL is nice, but you still need players to fill out that team. Fortunately for Rick Shantz and John Perlman, their vast collective coaching experiences had afforded them the connections to facilitate that process.
Well, in the early stages, I went to the coaches that I'd worked on the regional staff before there was the developmental academy. There was the Olympic development program and then the regional level of that program. And they were the first players we brought in addition to players from the Tucson area that were playing collegiately. And then as people heard the experience here was good and we did a good job with it, the program began to recruit itself, and it became a lot easier. And players actually helped bring other players here, so the players did a great job in helping us grow this.
Perlman may be modest about the growth of his franchise in a relatively short 6-year window, but one of his employees took a slightly different view in regards to player recruitment.
I don't think that you will find any other club in the country with somebody quite like John Perlman. You're talking about a guy who runs his own youth club before we even get involved here. He's director of coaching at Tanque Verde, GM, scout for U.S. Soccer, head coach, co-owner. Most people would go insane trying to handle all that. But John and Rick and Greg have helped to really build something special here. Players want to come here because they know it's a professional environment. They're going to be treated like pros, and they're going to be held to a standard that they have to get accustomed to if they want to move on.
Now that the team had been bought and the roster filled out, the final major piece of the puzzle was to find a permanent home for FC Tucson to play. As it turned out, the team found a little fortune in the departure of a couple Major League Baseball teams from the area who had been using Tucson as the home for their spring training facilities.
We've been playing our PDL games on a converted baseball field here at Keno in 2012. In the middle of 2012, we began talks with Pima County about repurposing half of Keno Sports Complex from 5 baseball fields to 6 soccer fields and a soccer-specific stadium. The county had money left over after the Chicago White Sox broke their lease early. Essentially, there was a $5 million liquidated damages clause in that agreement, and so the White Sox left behind $5 million. The county used that money to accomplish the conversion from baseball to soccer. And the great thing about that is they had built a gorgeous facility for the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Chicago White Sox here at Keno, and it was just a matter of digging up some clay in the infields and putting down sod, and you had really world-class soccer pitches. And there's no equivalent soccer pitches in the Southwest.
For a semi-professional startup soccer team, growth and sustainability are wholly dependent on a fan base willing to embrace and commit. And it seems that FC Tucson has been lucky in that regard.
Well, obviously, the fans here they're knowledgeable fans. They expect the best from their team. They've been incredibly supportive. There's been a lot of enthusiasm. There's a lot of love here for the players. We feel very fortunate to play in Tucson. It's an amazing environment for these players, and we're going to continue to work and earn more fans and continue to keep the trust of the ones we have.
The fan base in Tucson is definitely what drives us. As the club becomes more of a known thing here in the community, one of the biggest problems with starting a new franchise is just getting the word out that you exist. Now on the heels of the success that we've had, media interest is starting to pick up. And in terms of our attendance numbers, they are starting to pick up a little bit. This year we had some of our highest attendance for games ever in the club's history. We had second highest attended PDL game ever for us. So yeah, I feel like it's growing. I feel like we're on the right track, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Ozzy Ramos, a senior at Seattle University this fall, is in his 3rd year playing with FC Tucson. And Ozzy believes that nurturing relationships is a big key to the team's future success in the community and beyond.
This being my 3rd year, I think that people definitely recognize who you are around Tucson, so I think that's great. After the games, we talk to kids, we talk to people that come to our games, and it's about developing relationships with the people that come support us. And even currently, I have a couple families that I'm going to go to dinner with. So I think it's great. I think it's important. The FC Tucson gets the whole community involved, and I think that's something that I very much like about FC Tucson.
FC Tucson impacts more than just the community that they play in front of. The club brings in some of the best collegiate players from across the U.S., not only to try to help the club win, but also to help these young athletes develop as soccer players and as people.
We always felt that our goal as a PDL team was to put players in the next level, that we were going to always put that above trying to get results. My goal is to take a player and let them know what it's going to take to play at that next level, what they're going to have to do, what they're going to have to sacrifice. Push them forward from a soccer aspect as well as from a character aspect. We make sure that we're connected to all the people that are important to their development. We're all working together towards the same goal, which is having that player reach their dream, which is playing obviously at the highest level possible.
As a 3rd-year player, Ozzy Ramos is a prime example of how FC Tucson and the PDL can help a player to develop his game.
I think it's important every summer because there's so much time that we have in our hands, and just the facilities here are great. The feedback we get from the coaches is fantastic, and like I said previously, I think you want to be in an environment that's going to push you, that's going to make you better. And heading into the college season, you get the summer off, so I think if keeping pushing yourself and improving these 2 months heading to my last college season right now is super important. FC Tucson now in the PDL, it has a name for itself, and guys from top schools, top players, they want to come here, and for me personally, I think I want to be in the best environment possible, and FC Tucson provides that for PDL, and I'm grateful to be here.
So what does the future hold for this FC Tucson club now that they've established themselves in the community?
Well, we hope that we can continue to grow the club. We would like to take that leap to the next professional level, continue to grow the pyramid. For the top end for us, we would love to have a USL Pro team or higher. But we want something that allows those who love soccer to see Tucson as a destination, not just a place where you have to pass through on your way to something bigger. So I think that's always something we wanted for here, and obviously we'll pursue that along with the growth and the improvement of the event from a spectator standpoint, from a training standpoint for the teams that come here, and obviously we want our business to be as successful as possible. So lots done, but lots of work to be done.
For now, John Perlman and FC Tucson will hope to continue to be a source of enjoyable soccer and high-quality entertainment for the Tucson community. And whether a move up the U.S. soccer pyramid is imminent or not, the future looks bright for this little soccer club in this little southwestern city.